Thanks for listening to the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, here to help educate, motivate, and put you on the right path to take control of your health through weekly discussions on topics in the medical field, public health arena, and in your community. And now your host, Dr. Barry.
And welcome to another episode of the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry. I'm your host, Dr. Barry Pierre, your favorite board-certified internist, founder of Pierre Medical Consulting, helping you empower yourself for better health with the #1 podcast for patient advocacy here on the Lunch and Learn with Dr. Barry, bringing you another episode. This is episode 118. We have Dr. Bellard, who is an amazing, phenomenal peak performance coach who is going to get us right this episode. Now, a lot of times when we talk about just the aspect of goals and achieving goals and what that means, I think a lot of times we kind of set people up for failure, right? And especially in the health space where we set patients up to say like, hey, you got to stop smoking in 3 months, or hey, you got to lose all this weight, or you got to watch your cholesterol. You got to do all these things that we set expectations on our patients. But a lot of times we don't actually train our patients to achieve those expectations, right? And Dr. Bellard, who is an amazing speaker, he has a YouTube page where we're pushing him to hurry up and get a podcast because this guy needs to be on a podcast. Great blog as well, too, who is going to really educate us and get us right on the correct mindset to make sure that not only do we have goals that we want to achieve, but we know how to succeed in getting those goals, and we know how to deal with the missteps that are likely going to be in the way on your route to those goals, right? So just a quick little bio. Dr. Brad is a double board certified sports medicine physician. He's a peak performance coach. As a non-operative sports medicine specialist, Dr. Brad helps injured active individuals avoid surgery, decrease pain, and improve function. He has also served as a team physician for multiple professional teams, including the NBA Dallas Mavericks, and is a regular guest on Dallas ESPN radio show Inside Sports Medicine. As a peak performance coach, which again, I'm telling you, like, even though I know he's a sports medicine physician, like, this is really where I think he excels, and this is where I've been enamored by his growth. As a peak performance coach, Dr. Brad helps driven professionals maximize their potential so they achieve more success and fulfillment. Dr. Brad is a best-selling author, sought-after keynote speaker, delivering impactful messages on topics including performance, purpose, and his personal story on going from ordinary to extraordinary. Again, if you're listening to this in the month of July, you know we are all about self-reflection. We're all about our mental clarity, mental health. I knew I'd be doing you guys a disservice if I did not tell you the aspect of achieving goals and setting goals and how to actually be successful at them. Dr. Brad actually drops a statistics bomb that actually kind of, floors me throughout the episode when we talk about New Year's resolutions. Because, obviously, if you're listening to this in July and you made this New Year's resolution in January, if you look to the left, you look to the right, one of your partners isn't talking about that New Year's resolution, right? And he told me the amount of people who actually drop off by like February, March, which is absolutely crazy. So be on the lookout for that little tidbit. And again, you're going to hear about his book. You're going to hear about a coaching program that he's got coming up, and we're definitely excited for. And again, following this episode, I want you guys to follow him, and I want you to pester him to make sure he gets this podcast out because it's needed. We need a voice like his in the podcast space, and I'm definitely excited for that to come whenever that does come around. But we're going to push it to be sooner rather than later. Again, like always, if you're not done so, go ahead, subscribe to the podcast, leave me a 5-star review, go ahead, follow Dr. Brad, him know how much you learned and gained from this week's episode, because again, I was sitting here like writing mental notes myself, and this is definitely an episode I'm going to be going back and forth and drawing inspiration and drawing knowledge to make sure I'm achieving all the goals that I set forth to achieve from this year and here on forth. So again, another episode here on the Lunch Hour with Dr. Barry. Subscribe, share it on all your favorite social media outlets, whether it be Instagram stories, Facebook, Twitter. I'm on all of them. So wherever you're sharing that, I'm likely there. If you mention me, I'll definitely make sure I acknowledge the support. You guys have a great and blessed day. This episode is brought to you by the Lunch and Learn Community Store, where we are living out the motto, empower yourself for better health. In the Lunch and Learn Community Store, you can get your favorite t-shirts, ebooks, as well as other related products by Dr. Barry. Head over to shop.drpiersblog.com and get a chance to get 10% off your first purchase by using the coupon code EMPOWER10. Again, shop.drpiersblog.com. Live out the motto, empower yourself for better health. All right, Lunch Learn community, you just got a chance to listen to another amazing bio. I think I say this every week. Like, I'm blessed to be able to know a lot of people who are doing some amazing things out in the health world and community, and, you know, those who are willing to kind of reach back and kind of educate the Lunch Learn community on all the amazing stuff they're doing. So again, Dr. Brad, thank you for joining today's podcast.
Dude, my absolute pleasure. We talked about this before we got on, offline, but, it's an honor and a privilege to be on here because I've been watching you. We got a lot of mutual friends together, and we speak similar language in terms of being able to promote and improve other people's lives in very different ways, whether it's mental health or whether it's personal growth or whether it's their physical health. And so it's about time we got together, man. So I appreciate the fact that you reached out, and I'm excited, man.
And you know what I love about that is that because I think a lot of times when people talk about growth in those different areas, they talk about it as if it's separate, like separate entities just kind of like running parallel, but not realizing to be really whole, right? Like you got to have all of these things kind of in line, right?
Well, and you said it, dude. We really separate our physical health from what's going on in our mind. And to me, you can't reach a certain level of physical health until the mind understands where it's trying to go and believe that it's possible to get there. So yes, it goes hand in hand. For somebody to maybe look like they're in great shape, but mentally they're not there, they're stressed. You may not see the toll that the stress is taking on internally, but that's conflicting. So really, ultimately, like you said, to be whole, and you got to have the mind and the body right together. So no, you hit the nail on the head.
Right. I have a lot of my Lunch Learn community listeners who like to skip past the intro, right? So maybe they didn't catch your bio, right? For those who didn't, right? Like tell them a little bit something about yourself that maybe ain't in the bio, but like, really says like who Dr. Brad really is.
Man, at the end of the day, dude, I'm just a guy who just really came from ordinary beginnings in the Houston area, had no aspirations of becoming a doctor, had people who believed in me much more than I ever believed in myself. And I was crazy enough to believe it. And over time, became a physician, but always had this itch, Dr. Barry, that there was something else. There was a voice that was waiting to be heard about really the story of my life and how being able to maximize your potential and the way people tapped into my potential so that I could eventually become more than I ever thought I could and even, try to excel to become more, really try to convey that message to other people, man. And I've been blessed to have some success in a lot of different areas. I served as the assistant team physician for the Dallas Mavericks for multiple years. Radio is something that's been a passion of mine, as I've been on ESPN Radio as a co-host for them on a show that we do here in the Dallas area. And, I do some speaking, best-selling author and all that stuff. Don't really talking a whole lot about that. But I do bring it up only to let people know what's possible. That's really the only reason I do it.
I mean, sometimes, Brad, you got to let people know you're not playing out here, too, though. Because sometimes people don't respect the amount of work, right, you put in, right, until you start, listing the CV out. Like, sometimes we got to list the CV out, and I'm a 100% champion for listing the CV out when need be.
Oh, listen, sometimes you got to check folks just so they know who they talking to. So when I get that feel, every now and then I gotta put a couple pointers out there and some reminders. But for the most part, man, I'm just a chill dude trying to make people more successful and fulfilled than they are now.
So one thing I want to talk about, because I was very interested in, all the amazing stuff you do, right? When we talk about like peak performance coaching, right? Like when was that time in your life when you knew that, I needed to make this direction shift? I'm not sure if it was a turn. I'm not sure if it was a change, but I just needed to go in this direction. And then how did you end up becoming the peak performance coach, right? Like, cause I think that's something that says Lunch Learn community. I really want them to kind of get a hold of, right? Especially, right? Because we're in July, right? And I know we in July, but depending on when you listen to this, a lot of y'all talked about New Year's resolutions in January. So I know a lot of times this is when those New Year's resolutions, people stop talking about it, people stop bringing it up, right? So I kind of want to know, what was your transition, right? When you said like when you realized I needed to do something more, right? Because I think you kind of alluded to it, like I was doing okay, but I wasn't 100% fulfilled. And then when you said, I'm going to take this mantle, and drive people to not only drive myself, but
then now I'm going to turn around and drive others.
Yeah. Yeah. So first of all, you talk about those New Year's resolutions, man. There was a study that came out recently that showed that about 80% of people before February hits already dropped the resolution. So,
oh Lord, February. Wow.
You gave a lot of people a little more time saying, I know they might be dropping off now. Let me tell you something. If they stuck with it until now, they're probably going to stick with it. But for a lot of people, that happened about 5-6 months ago. But no, man, so I believe everyone's present and future is in some way connected to their past. So really it just comes down to my story. When I was younger, my brother was a large motivating force in my life. He was at the time an entrepreneur and he was trying to get a business started. And so he had people in his life that were pouring into him about, how to see yourself, how to have a better self-image, how to succeed in these success-based principles. And my brother was 12 years older than me. So he directly kind of fed that into me. And I was just kind of, all ears. And at the time I was a young athlete trying to play basketball, and I would apply these principles. And so, I started seeing that these things worked, because unfortunately I just didn't get this from my home. Nothing against my parents. They didn't speak life into us like that. So
do you find that sometimes it is that they don't know how, or the foundation is out there to be able to build and teach the methods just aren't there for them?
I firmly believe, at least my parents, man, I think most parents, they want to try to do the best they can for their children, but they're ignorant to how it works. And when I say ignorant, not in a bad way, but they just literally lack the knowledge of what it takes. No one poured into them into that way. So, how would they just wake up one day and be able to share with me principles of success, or being able to believe in myself, or be able to believe that things are possible? So, they did their best, and I'm grateful for that. But, my story from early on was a story of one in which people believed in me much more than I ever believed in myself. And, I'm hard-headed. I guess it never really started sticking until later in life that I would look back and look and be like, I actually did pretty good in that area. Maybe I can apply this to other areas of life. And so the same thing happened in college. I could have swore I was going to fail college. I just knew I was going to fail. My first semester in college, I was so fearful. It really forced me to study because I was so fearful I was going to fail, and I did well. And it was one of those things like, wow, those realizations like, man, if I apply myself, I'll do well. And again, I just had people, dude. I'm so blessed because there was a professor I had who just saw more in me. She invited me to try to be a part of extracurricular activities. And I was like, why does she keep talking to me? Why does she keep trying to include me in all of this stuff? And I'm so grateful now because she saw something in me. And so that led to speaking for the first time in college. And I remember I addressed about 400 to 500 people and something happened right there, man. And I said, I've got to do something with this. But I went along my career in medicine and successfully graduated from medical school, and then, became a doctor. And what happened was, despite the fact that I had successfully achieved, what I wanted to do in my professional career, I found myself in what most people would consider successful in life. You know what I mean? I'm a doctor. I had started a little small home business. I wasn't fulfilled, dude. And I couldn't figure it out. I was like, why do I feel like, is this it? Like I actually got to where I wanted to go, and I'm like, this is it.
That's very interesting because when you talk about from an outward appearance, the degrees were there.
Yep.
The business was there. The business was doing well. But on the inside, it was like, something's not 100%, right? I'm not 100% happy, right? And that's a very interesting retrospective, because I think a lot of people don't do enough reflection on themselves to realize that's probably it. You're missing something, and that's why you're not, happy like you want to be, or in that regards.
Well, dude, think about it. It's hard taking a look in the mirror and being honest, dude. So when people feel a certain way like that, they feel unfulfilled. And I know exactly the feeling because I ignored it for so long that, for most people who ignore it, one of two things is going to happen. They'll become numb, and then they'll just make excuses. And then eventually they'll just kind of get stuck where they are, and then they won't be able to see a way out.
Or excuses become regrets.
Yep, that's right. And then the regrets become other excuses to justify why you haven't gone after something else or tried to address why you're dealing with that. So it's hard looking in the mirror, dude. I get it. I was there, and, at the time I'm thinking dude, I put all this work, time, money in, and listen, med school ain't cheap, Dr. Barry, you know that. So starting businesses ain't cheap.
Oh.
So, I'm sitting here why do I feel like this? And so, I get that, not wanting to reflect because reflection hurts, but growth requires reflection. It has to, because if you can't recognize and be aware of where you are now, there's no way you can kind of say, well, where do I want to go? How do I want to fix this? But long story short, to answer your question, yeah, so it got to a point to where I was struggling with two things. One, I was unfulfilled. Two, I knew I was actually underachieving. People say underachieving, like you were doing a lot.
Okay, all right.
No.
Hey, Lunch Learning community, you're going to see my eyebrows. I'm like, hold on. All right.
Well, but here's the deal. We all have this personal gauge of of whether we know we're actually, living up to our potential. When you look in the mirror, you know whether you're doing what you can or whether you're falling short. Mm. And so because I kind of got stuck in a rut, I really wasn't trying to advance my practice. I really wasn't advancing my business. It all looked good, again, on the outside looking in, but I became so frustrated. It all came to a point to where I was like, I've got to change. I've got to do something. And to be 100% honest with you, man, I wasn't doing what I needed to do spiritually. I wasn't doing what I needed to do as a husband, as a father, as a doctor. I was trying to figure out what my purpose. I didn't know. I mean, I was like, because obviously what I did here, my career was not scratching the itch, so to speak, to try to figure out, man, is this it? What else am I going to do? I got fed up, man. And that frustration and pain led me to really, really invest in myself and figure out what I needed to do to take things to another level for me. One, I had to discover my purpose. And two, I really had to start applying a lot of those success principles, those faith-based success principles in my life. And when I started doing that with the help of other people in my life, people, coaches, mentors, I started to see things change in a drastic way. Because of that, like I said, I've been blessed to have some success. I said, I have to pay this forward. It is not a question. I'm obligated for people who were where I was, man, is this it? What am I doing? I'm a successful professional, but like I'm stuck. Now I gotta wear the mask in front of everybody else because I just gotta do it. Right. But internally, they're like, dude, how did I get to where I am now? And I'm still stuck. I don't know what's next. I know there's more to life. I know I want more. I just don't really know how to get it. And, I've been able to develop some systems and tools to be able to help people do that. So that's really how the whole peak performance started. Was I was like, dude, let me go back and look at what I did, really define it and turn it into a way that I can voice clearly to people with my help, how to start living a life of purpose and peak performance. So
I love it. This is what they need to hear. Like I said, 80% of people fell off in February.
That's right.
Maybe if they heard something like this in February, they'd still be around in July, right?
That's right.
I think, and it sounds like that's a very big motivator for you, right? Like getting, people to really turn their goals into reality, right? Like, and really pushing it because it worked for you. And I think it was interesting because you talked about a mask. I think a lot of times when we talk about people wearing masks, sometimes they don't realize that successful people do it too. And I say successful in quotes because success is usually, an outwardly appearance, the degrees, the money, the bit, like that's all they usually can draw from because they don't really know what's going on the inside.
Well, look, I'll say this. If you know you're wearing the mask and internally something's hurting, that's actually a good thing. Here's what's scary is when you're wearing a mask and you don't even know it. And you'll know what I mean by this. We're both physicians. Somebody's got hypertension. They don't feel hypertension. You can't feel hypertension. Guess what? You can't be like, oh man, my blood pressure is just hurting me right now. You don't do that. But guess what? It's killing you on the inside. And so if you're aware enough to know that something's not right, like, dude, I'm just not where I want to be, being 100%. That's a good thing. It's just time to address it, really. And I'm here to let you know, number one, it's possible to achieve what you want. And number two, there's a way to do it. And three, there's someone here to help you do that. You know what motivates me, man? Mm-hmm. There are people.
Talk to us. Let's go.
No. Here's the deal. See, so many times we want better for ourselves. And I get it. Dude, that's big. That might be like an initial self-motivator. That was probably my initial motivator. Like, dude, I'm going to get something else started. I'm going to do something. What motivates me now and what will create lasting motivation is service. Dude, there are people out there who are currently right now where I was years ago, where I'm like literally gripping my head, trying to figure out I'm not where I need to be. So it's more trying to find those people. And it's my personal obligation to serve and find those people, because if I can get in front of those people and help them, well, then I've done my part. But see, it's not about me anymore. And when you get to that point in anything that you're doing, which I encourage people to find whatever that is for you, find something that's big enough in your life that if you don't do it because somebody else will suffer, or someone else will suffer because you don't do what you're supposed to do, that is a motivator. we'll let ourselves down almost 100% of the time.
Ooh,
we know somebody's, but if we know somebody else is relying on us and you're not doing what you're supposed to do, that hurts. So yeah, that gets me up, man.
What do you think? And that's definitely a good point here. What do you think stops people, right? What do you think, especially with your history and your career and people you work with, like, what do you think stops most people, right, from really achieving, right, what they really want, right? Like, because we talk a lot, right?
Yeah.
In January, we're hype. Yep. Right. But like, what happens in February? What happens in March that people fall off so much, right? What's been your thing that you've run into like often over and over and over again?
One word, man, belief. I'll keep it real simple. And you could just, you and all the listeners, man, they could just let this marinate. If you believed you could do it, you'd be doing it, or you would have done it already.
I love it.
Ooh, I mean, think about it. If you really, really, really thought you could start that business, you would have already pulled the trigger. There would not have been an excuse. We would have done it. Dude, we were talking before this about me podcasting. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, there's a belief issue of why I haven't taken action to actually start my own podcast. I do all the other stuff. And there's no excuse for me because I've got so much content and stuff out there.
So, and let's look at me. I'm telling you, he got so much. Like I told him, he don't have to do a new thing for nothing. He can I'm just going to take this out from here. I'm going to take this out from here. And he probably has a couple months worth of stuff right now.
Oh, dude, almost a year's worth of stuff. And so, here's what you'll find is pure honesty from me. I'm not perfect. So when I'm telling you about something that, so you ask me like what stops people, same stuff that stops other people, same stuff that stops me. The thing is, I've become so aware of what it is now that I can talk about it. And I've been able to say, okay, well, if belief is the issue, really with intention, use that to my advantage and believe something to turn the goals and the wants and the desires into reality. But what stops people, man, is that there's a belief issue. Most people don't want to believe that. You talk about belief, but it's the reality, man. I mean, if you believed 100% you can do, you'd already be doing it already.
You'd already be doing it.
Yeah.
I love it. And you've talked before, right? Especially about achieving goals, right? And you've given tips, right? Because again, like I said, Lunch Link Me, I follow Dr. Brad on IG, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on his blog. And he's talked about 3 tips for achieving goals, which I love. And I really want him to kind of, really hit home, especially for you guys who are in the middle or in the beginning or are starting or towards the end of your health journey, whatever that is. Right. And he talks about these 3 tips as far as achieving your goals. Right. And number 1 is eliminating excuses. And I love that one.
Yeah.
Like I love the elimination of excuses because I find that a lot of us, they come out of nowhere. And sometimes we make up our own excuses. We don't even give people time to like, well, that's the reason why you ain't doing it because of this. Like we have our own excuses to kind of get away. Like the elimination of excuses, like it sounds easy, right? Like, dude, we talk, but
sounds too simple.
Like, how have you helped people eliminate excuses? And honestly, what are some of the funniest excuses you've heard in the past that, like, come on now, like.
I could have you rolling on my own excuses, man. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we're talking about this podcast. That's let's start there. I've got all the tools and everything in the world to start a podcast, and I haven't. Ultimately, dude, people want change, but there's 3 things that are pretty much mandatory that I've seen to really kind of take big picture, to achieve change, to have transformation, achieve your goal, however you want to label that. 1 is mindset. In that mindset, I mean, that's a big word, but like, positive mindset.
Especially because a lot of us have negative ones.
Yeah, we have negative mindset. So, so mindset, under that mindset is belief. So really your internal thoughts. So let's just say mindset's 1. 2nd is clarity. I think most people don't know what they want. They know they want something different, but I don't know if they know what they want. And you can't really start moving. You can start moving away from something, but to really be purpose driven and get to what you want, you have to then start moving towards something. But people don't know what that is. So clarity or vision. And then the 3rd thing is you got to have people, man. I thought for the longest time I could do things on my own. And that was one of my roadblocks is I'm just going to wake up and be able to just do this stuff. But you need people. And there's various types of people you need. You need you need people around you. You need your tribe of people who are going to encourage you. You need a mentor, coach, or somebody who's been there already to now guide you along the way. Dude, there's a Harvard study that shared that 95% of where you'll be in your results in life is as a result of the people who are around you. 95%.
Wow.
This is a Harvard study. So you telling me you don't need people? You want to continue to be like I was in the past and say, oh man, I don't need people. I don't need a coach. I don't need a mentor. You know what? I had to put my pride to the side, dude, because I wanted more out of life. And so that's really what it is. It requires mindset, clarity, and people. And that in a big picture will really help people to get what they want. That'll help them eliminate excuses and to do anything else. If you look big picture, that's what it is. Now, I'm here to let people know I'm a person that can help you to do the other two things, which is the mindset and the clarity. So yeah.
Your second tip was having a strong why. Oh, like why is that so important? Like, why is it so important for a person who wants to achieve their goals to like really have a strong why?
You'll quit. You'll quit. You'll quit, dude. You know, you got to eliminate excuses. You got to have a strong why. I mean, and I know what you're talking about, you know, to achieve any goal, dude, you got to be able to eliminate excuses. You got to have a strong why. Look, man, if being excited about something is only going to last so long, dude, because at some point you're going to get punched in the mouth. You're going to get punched in the gut. And the question is what I'm going after worth getting up and feeling that again? Potentially, because you may. So
okay,
that why has to be so, dude, it's got to be deep enough to get up again, man. You mind if I bless your listeners right now?
Please do.
Dude, there's a book that is called Start With Why by a guy named Simon Sinek. It was one of the books that changed my life. I've got about 10 books or so that have just been, you know, those game changers in life, right? It's called Start With Why. And he talks in that book about companies that have not just like extraordinary companies like whether you like this company or not, you can't deny they've done well and created a following and community, but it was Apple. They talk about big time companies and how they did that and how you can relate that starting with why to your life to be able to achieve more, be more, do more. And when I saw how powerful the power of why is, man, I said, I need to know the reason why I'm doing almost everything in my life. If I can't give a reason of why I'm not, why I'm doing something with intention, maybe I don't need to be doing it. Or maybe I need to figure out why I'm doing it instead of just living haphazard, man.
I love it though. Ooh, okay. All right. And I see. And I told you guys we're going to be learning today. And obviously for those who may be driving, listening, wherever you're listening to, I will make sure all of the links that, Dr. Brad talked about will be in the show notes as well too. So you don't have to like scurry down and right, because I will make sure we have a link to that as well. The last tip you talked about is solution-based mentality. What's that?
It's the difference between solution. In order to have a solution, there's going to be a problem. I think we can all agree, like, in order to have a solution to something, that means that you're solving a problem. So that means problems are inevitable in our lives. But there's a difference between when a problem comes and immediately saying there's no answer to it, or having this solution-based mentality where you say, okay, how can we fix this? It's the question of how. When you start to ask yourself questions like that, the mind opens up to a possibility of how it can happen. Just as recent as the other day, I was talking to my wife, and she's out of town and she had some car trouble. And so she went and got it checked out, and it was a certain amount of money. And she was like, what are we going to do? I said, well, hold on. How can we figure this out? And as soon as you start to think that, you start to think of possibilities. But if something happens and you immediately like, dude, we're done.
Right.
We can't do anything. Possibility has been ended. When you're on your way toward any goal, if you're trying to achieve anything in life, there's going to be problems. I can assure you, there's going to be obstacles. And when it happens, you have to say, how can I move around this? How can I? Because it will empower you to think about things that you didn't ordinarily think about before once you were presented with it. But don't just write off any other possibility, because at that point you'll stop.
And that makes so much sense. Once you come with that initial thought, like, oh my God, this can't be done. Like your brain's not going to even think about other ways that it possibly could be done, because you've already quit before the race even started.
Dude, questions just in general are just big. I mean, you start asking yourself questions. That's, you talked about self-reflection, like being able to reflect. A lot of that is just asking yourself questions. I mean, one of the biggest questions I ask people is, what do you want? Like, I mean, that's a big question, Dr. Barry. But most of us, I don't think we think that we can get it. So you talk about beliefs. That's why we don't even address what we want, because it's like, well, I kind of got to go to work. I kind of got to do this. Like, okay, I get that. But what do you want? When you really start asking people what they want, that's when you can start moving towards something because you can define what you want. That's that clarity piece I was talking about earlier.
I don't think it'll be complete, right? Especially in the onus space of, helping people achieve their goals and talking about the goals, that they have, right? Without talking about the aspect of failure. And you talk a lot about failure and really the fear of it. But most importantly, you talking about like, how do you get over that? Right. Because like you said, I think that failure is kind of rooted in their belief, right? Some people believe the failure before they believe their goal.
Dude, failure is so powerful. Think about it. If you have a goal, there's something that you want to do, oftentimes the fear of failure will stop you from taking action toward it. I mean, think about it. Our egos are so fragile to get hurt. No, this is real. Our egos are so fragile to
talk to him. That's all right. Talk to him.
No, and I'm talking to me too, man. Our egos are so fragile that we don't want to feel the pain of not achieving something that we don't even have yet, that we don't even like. It's not like we're losing something.
Right.
Like we're trying to go after something. You don't even have it. I'm not even going to go after it because, man, what if this, that, and the other happen? But you don't even have it yet. Like we're so concerned of how we will feel when we fail that we won't even move. Yeah, it's
look, I wish you could see my face because I'm like, oh yeah, he, yep, right there. He hitting it right there.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a lot of us. It's a lot of us who are walking around. Like you say, we won't even start the race because we're already thinking about, what happens if I fail going towards the end of the track? What
are people going to think? What's going to happen, man? Look, people will think, let me tell you, they'll probably think things that you don't even have in mind of what they're going to think, So, that's when we go back to that why question is whatever you're going after, is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Sometimes fear, like I was talking about before, I was so fearful that I was going to fail. It really pushed me to go. Sometimes it can be a push, but if you're so fearful that you're not taking action, that's when it becomes a problem. We're all going to face fear. The question is this: what are you going to do when it happens? Are you going to have a healthy response to fear? Fear is part of life, dude. But so oftentimes we are fact and then there's opinion. So there's fact. Okay, there's a fact that maybe you failed a test, or a fact that maybe you didn't make money in this first business. That's fact. Your opinion of the fact that you'll never be able to do it again is not real. So then it becomes that fear is now a choice. We choose fear. Danger is real.
Right. Danger
is real, dude. Look, if a lion comes up in this room right now, like I'm in danger. You see me? Like I'm in danger. Like, yes, I will. It's time to run. I'm fearful because I'm in danger. But starting that business ain't nothing what's going to happen to you? It's not like you're going to have a heart attack. It's not like you're going to. So now it's a choice. So you got to be able to address it, know that it's there, and then deal with it in a healthy fashion.
Amazing. And like I said, touched on, and I love the fact that a lot of us, like you talked on, a lot of us are choosing, right? Yep. We're choosing fear. We're choosing this fear of failure, and we're not even starting, right? Because again, that fear is going to be there. We expect it to be there. And for yourself, it actually helped push you forward and motivate you towards your goal. But for some, unfortunately, maybe again, we say 80%, which is wow. That 80% still like, I've been thinking about that number this whole time. I'm like, wow, 80% really drop off by February. Wow. A lot of us like have chosen like, all right, this is the route I'm going. You know what? I know I was hyped in January, but I'm good on that. I'll see y'all next January.
Yeah. Look, let me talk about resolutions for a minute. Again, I just want to bless the people who are here because I get it, man. Like people, I think most of us have goals, man. I think most of us have things that we want to do. We may not say the word goals because it might scare some people because they know if they failed, then they know they failed, they're going at a goal. But we have things that we want to do. Let's just put it that way. If you don't, people will go to the gym. Let's just take weight loss for a second. Say, man, I want to lose 20 pounds. And so they'll start putting in action, like I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to put all these actions. But the one thing they miss is mentally being there before they ever get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have a self-image of having lost 20 pounds already to be able to continue moving. We are where we are right now because we had an image of ourselves at some point in our life to be here now, or else we wouldn't be the people that we are. I mean, that's just how it works. So if you want to lose that weight, believe you've already lost it before you even start. But, that takes work. It takes exercise. It takes mental exercise, just like it does physical exercise to get there. But it's the mental exercise that people don't implement, which is why after 2 weeks it's too hard and it's just, I'm not going to go to the gym anymore.
Oh, I love it. Dr. Brad, you have really put a charge, not only in the lunch learning community, but also myself. Like I said, you know what, maybe I can't go ahead and do this thing too. Like maybe, because now I'm thinking, wow, is there something I was holding myself back? Even though, I know, especially in the learning community, they talk all the time. They see like, oh, Dr. Brad, what else can you do? Like, well, I don't want to limit myself, right? And so I love this thought process of going through the steps, right? Going through the steps of recognizing I want to do something different, recognizing, all right, these are some of the steps that may hinder me, but because I know my why, I'm going to keep moving forward. And yes, that monster of failure is in the shadow, but I'm not going to let that monster stop me from getting to work. Right. So first of all, thank you for such an amazing educational lesson. Like I said, we're definitely hyping. It was definitely a person that I was like, yeah, I got to make sure I get him on the show because I don't know if people realize how amazing this guy is. Right. So I said, let's get him on one way or the other.
Well, I'll tell you, Dr. Barry, one of the things that I love that you say is empower yourself for better health. I think so oftentimes some of our patient base, they look to us for all the answers and we can have answers, but we can't result for you. You know what I'm saying? I can't result for you. I can't get your blood pressure down. I'm an educator and I will educate you and guide you, but I can't do the work. Now, what I like about most of our patients that come in to see us, when I say us, doctors like you and myself, is that, they're taking an active role by seeing a doctor. But if you're saying, hey, listen, we got to get your blood pressure down, that's a goal. And so they need to be empowered. And I love the fact that you are creating content to empower people to ultimately hit their health goals. Health is important. And so thank you for this podcast, dude. Thank you for having me. I hope that what I'm talking about here will help the community of listeners who listen to you and be empowered and take the information and knowledge that you're giving them, including what I'm giving them, to be better patients so that they can be better people, so they can have better health. You know what I mean? But you're doing exactly that, man. You're empowering people. But I challenge everybody who's listening to this to take the information.
Let's go.
To take the information that Dr. Barry is talking about and let's use it. See, he doesn't provide this content just because he likes hearing himself talk. Okay. I mean, we want to create change. So we challenge you to take this information so that you can hit your health goals, so that you can take back control of your health, which is another thing that he says, is take back control. We can only do so much, but in our passion and in our purpose, we deliver this information, but it's going to be up to you to take action so that you can have a better life. And listen, at the end of the day, it's worth it. I mean, what is it going to feel like to be able to not have to be on the medication anymore? What's it going to feel like to, lose the weight and the knees feel better? What is it going to feel like to be able to wake up knowing that, heck, you just achieved your goal of losing 10 pounds? What's it going to feel like to be able to know that you're serving as a phenomenal example for your family and others around you of what to do? We talked about 95% of who we become is a matter of who's around us. See, what we don't oftentimes understand is that the decisions we make for our own health is having a profound, maybe even more drastic effect on those people around us, your family, your friends.
Oh, yes.
Whether you're a grandparent, parent, or just a friend of someone, you serve in some kind of way whenever you make decisions on your health on a daily basis because they're around you. So realize it's not about you. It's not always about you, but the decisions you make will have effect on other people around you. So I challenge you guys to listen to what Dr. Barry says, apply it. And I mean, dude, you're a blessing, dude. So I appreciate you.
No, much appreciate them. Amazing words. And we'll definitely make sure we get that written down somewhere so we can post that on IG. So before you go, right? And because I have such amazing guests and it's amazing, I'm in a circle that, especially a circle of physicians who not only killing it in health, but just killing it in general, right? Like I always leave this time say, all right, Dr. Brad, please tell these people what you're doing. Please tell them, books, courses, whatever you have, so they can be connected to who Dr. Brad is, and they can see why Dr. Barry feels like Dr. Brad's so amazing. Like what's going on right now? Like man. Talk about the books. Let's go.
Yeah, man. No, listen, I'm extremely excited. Like I said, my passion is all driven towards service, man, and trying to get people to a place to where they really can maximize their professional and a personal potential via faith-based principles so that they can achieve more success and fulfillment. That fulfillment word is really big. So everything I do is really centered upon that in terms of things that I do as a peak performance coach outside of my practice. So I've got a book, I've got a best-selling book called Elite, A Modern Success Guide to Purpose and Peak Performance. And it literally serves as a guide for people who are looking to achieve more, be more, and live more. So we've got the book. We talked about 3 things earlier that everybody needs for some sort of transformation: mindset, vision, and people. That's MVP. So I've got something I'm extremely excited about. A lot of people are kind of pulling for me here or there to either work with them or coach to help them hit their goals. What's really cool is I'm creating a membership so that people can literally have access to me month to month to learn and implement a habit that will help them become the person that they always wanted to be and sustain it over time. So I'm literally going to be your accountability partner. I'll be the person who coaches you. I'll be the person who encourages you on a month-to-month basis as being a member of the MVP Nation. So that's going to be rolling out really, really soon. And then, I do some speaking, man. People can always check us out. You can follow me at Dr. Brad MD. That's DrBrad MD. Even in my sports medicine practice, we're doing some big things on the radio on there. So I had that earlier this morning. So today's kind of been a media day. But yeah, man,
I love it. Media day. I'm a part of media, y'all. I'm a part of media.
It was media day, man. So check out what we got on there. Should I talk to him about the free video?
Talk to him. Let's go.
Yeah. So listen, man, I got a heart to give. So for anybody who's looking to turn their goal, we talked about goals here, people who might have some health goals. Any goal that you have, if you're trying to create that goal into reality, I've created a free video. It is literally free. Like, it's not like this dude is like talking crazy. Like, no, it's free. Okay. It's free. And so it's a video training. It's about a little less than 10 minutes long, and it's called the Results Formula. And so I talk about that results formula and how you can apply it to your life. And that's at www.resultswithdrbradmd.com, resultswithdrbradmd.com. I'm sure you'll put it on the notes.
Oh, definitely.
And if you go there,
in fact, Lunch Learn Community, if you text Dr. Brad MD at 44222, I will make sure that link gets sent directly to you.
Man, dude, Dr. Barry, man, look, man, it's been a pleasure, man. We're going to have to chop it up some more just offline, dude.
Yes. I was telling Dr. Brad before we started, I was like, hey, man, I've been waiting to talk to you. Like, I've been, there's certain people that you just see their energy and you're like, okay, yeah, this one, he's going to be a problem, right? Like, a good problem, of course. This one right here, I'm going to, let me keep an eye on this one right here. Like, and tell you, Lunch Learn Community, I follow him on YouTube. Like, we're gonna get him to do his podcast. We already got on him. He needs
the accountability is coming. Yes. So no, I feel it. No, I got to get up out there, man. And you're gonna be on that podcast. So just go ahead and get ready.
Love it. And again, I follow him on YouTube. And make sure when you follow him on YouTube, make sure you hit the little notification bell so every time a new video pops up. You do your, when is your mornings are Tuesdays, and I'm in Eastern Standard Time, so I don't want to say the wrong time.
So yeah, on my Facebook fan page and even on my personal page, I do something called Tuesday Topics with Dr. Brad, is where I deliver a lot of, content to help people maximize their potential. And so that's at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. So that is 8 a.m. your time.
Okay. Perfect. So if you think about the amazing stuff that he gives you for free, just imagine, what's in that membership site, y'all. Like,
oh, dude,
I just want y'all to like again, I'm not, I got, he didn't even cut me a check, right? So I'm not even, he cut me a check. I'm just telling you the amazing stuff that he gives away for free when they talk about achievement, when you talk about goals and fears and just personal growth. And if he's giving that for free, I can only imagine what's in this membership site.
Dude, I'm so excited about this. Like I said, because it's hard for me to do what I do on a one-on-one. There's only so much time in the day. Mm-hmm. But being able to really, bless the masses, but still serve as that coach for them. Oh man, I literally cannot wait until I launch this, which my guess is probably going to be toward the end of this month, beginning of next month. So.
Can't wait. And honestly, one of the reasons why I even did the podcast, because I was like, I could talk to a person one-on-one in the clinic, but I want to talk to more people, right? Like I know more people need to hear what I'm saying. Right. So that's why I'm definitely a fan of the membership site, because unfortunately, we're not making more time. Right. We only got 24 hours in the day. Right. We're getting pulled in so many different directions. that you sometimes will I don't want to say do a disservice, right? But if you're only focusing on one person, right, you're not able to help the 20 people who may be in New York and in Florida and Montana and all these other different places because you're just situated in one spot. So definitely excited. Please let us know when this membership site goes up so we can let the Lunch Learn community get on that like ASAP.
Will do, man. I will do. Dude, Dr. Barry, man, I'm telling you, it was a blessing. It's an honor. Anytime somebody says, hey, look, dude, I'd love to talk to you more. And more importantly, dude, I mean, to be invited to address your audience of listeners, that's literally an honor, man. So I love what you're doing. You're blessing folks, dude. Your impact is probably more than you realize. I told you that already before we got on. Your impact, even on me, just seeing what you're doing, has been significant, man. So I hope the people who are listening to this know just how significant you are and your information is for us. So keep doing it, man.
Appreciate that, Brad. You have a great one.
All right, brother.
Thank you for getting to the end of the show. I am your host, Dr. Barry Pierre, host of the Lunch Learn with Dr. Barry, and this is another amazing episode that we like to bring to you week after week on betterment of empowering yourself for better health today. If you have not had a chance, please go ahead and subscribe to the show if this is your first time listening. If you already listen and you've already subscribed, make sure to leave me a 5-star review because your support is absolutely important in keeping the show moving as it is. And if you have not had a chance and you want to check out today's show notes, always head over to lunchlearnpod.com. That is lunchlearnpod, all in one word, .com, and you can get the access to my show notes for every single episode, but especially the one you just listened to. And I'm going to see you guys next week. You guys be blessed. Bye.